What's up, everybody? Happy holidays to everyone. Welcome here to the Sports Jedi Network's Golden Saber Awards. We're going to give us our awards because we watch along the wrestling product all year long. We keep an eye on it. We see it. We watched it. We watch along. We review it. We talk about it on our weekly wrestling. So we have the honor, the privilege to sit in the seat and watch all the wrestling. And first and foremost, my partner in crime. Let's say hello to the one and only from Hershey, Pennsylvania, PGA Chris.
Second year doing this with fun. It's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited. There was a lot that happened this year. Um, we were here pretty much all the Saturdays talk about it. And now today is just kind of we spend an hour and a half, 2 hours talking about what we liked this year. And I think there's a lot of things to, although, you could say the year wasn't as strong as the last couple of years. I think there were some good things to, you know, celebrate, which is what we're going to do here today. We're going to celebrate the good of 2025. So I'm excited to do this for the second year here with my brother, and we're going to do this shit. Let's go.
First and foremost, let's give a shout out all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. The one and only Samuel Lyons from Good Morning Wrestling. And you see him here. You saw him here in the beginning of the year in April, and we wanted to say, what's up? What's going on
What
to
up,
you?
Samuel? Thank you for joining us here. We know
Samuel,
it's probably late in your
indeed.
neck of the woods, so appreciate you for joining, brother.
Absolutely. Shout out to the TCP pod. Yes, indeed. Winning awards, and let's go. Speaking about winning, let's go right into it. Which company would you like to start first, Chris? You want to go with All Elite Wrestling? You want to
I
go
think we
against
should
them?
go with All Elite Wrestling. I think we
All
should
right.
go with All Elite Wrestling.
First and foremost, I want to, if I All Elite Wrestling, I understand people want to complain about the company. Right now, we're going to give you our opinion, our thoughts. When we watch the product, review it, I want to go with this one. Um, Who is your breakout wrestler in 2025, male first in All Elite Wrestling?
I would say Kyle Fletcher. I think the transformation he did in the beginning of the year to where he's at now. He's had a lot of great matches, obviously with Osprey and that steel cage, TNT champion. Um, Although the Don Callis family has too many members, they are one of the top, if not the top faction in the company, and he is the big part of that. Um, so I would say Kyle Fletcher, man. He's had a good 2025. The only complaint I had with him this year was the Adam Cole spot. I think he went a little too crazy on that spot with Adam Cole outside the ring. During their TNT championship match. I believe it was on Dynamite. Um, but other than that, I love the way he's improved from last year to now. So I would say my breakout male is Kyle Fletcher for this year.
Nice. He gets Chris's Golden Saber. For me, it's Bandito. I like Bandito as your male breakout Ring of Honor championship champion, teaming up with Brody, going and winning the tag team titles the way they did, where no one really gave them an opportunity, a chance to actually win, and they shocked. A lot of the wrestling, the diehard sickos who watched it thought it was going to be either Young Bucks winning the title or so forth. At that time, FTR, I don't recall the middle of the year when they won that, and then to see Bandito close out the year winning the Diamond Ring Award in the Battle Royal, and then going winning, getting the pin. To me, and now he has an opportunity in 2026 to Maximum Carnage to take on the AEW World Champion. To me, I think Bandito's growth. With and also the story where he saw his grandmother on ringside. So you got a little bit of personal connection where you felt the love from everybody wants to please an abuela and all that good stuff. Especially us in the land community, and all that good story and feel good moment. To me, that's why I have to give my Golden Saber to Bandito as AEW's breakout wrestler of the year. So congratulations to Bandito, and so forth. Now who is your women? We're gonna now go for the woman breakout of 2025. I'm gonna go ahead. Let me give mine first, Chris. To me, there's this young lady where in February she went in the ring with a woman who is seasoned, who is one of the four horsewomen, and didn't really live up to the par, or it felt like it was given to her, and then she worked her butt off. You know, whether it is with the puppet, whether it is getting in this tag team tournament with Willow, last night's match. That's why I wanted to wait for the last live event to give our awards, not premature, because the year hasn't ended. And she put herself over the top. To me, is Holly Cameron. Um, just her at work yesterday and just see her growth where she was in that match at the Grand Slam, and now you see the growth, you see the character development in her as well as a wrestler, sports entertainer, and all that. To me, my Golden Saber, I want to give it to Carly Cameron as the best breakout woman in all elite wrestling.
I love it. I love it. I think that is a great answer. A lot of people, she's been criticized earlier this year, and I think she made it is making a name for herself. We saw her in the Area Hawaii show. She has some personality. So I like that answer. For me, I would say Chris Statlander. She's my breakout women. I think obviously she is the AW Women's World Champion. Her beating Mercedes twice. Um, it's right then and there is really good as achievements, because no one's been able to do that all year. She's been bearing that division. She hasn't made it strong. So for Mercedes to do that, obviously she sees something in Statlander that somebody else may not. So I think Statlander has a good year. She had a great match last night against Jamie Hayter, where she beat who she won, so she's still your champion. And I think she's gonna have a good 2026. I think she should be booked, kind of like how Tony Storm was this year. So I'm gonna say breakout superstar of the year for me is Chris Statlander, and somebody to keep an eye out for 2026. I know we're a year from that, but Tekla. Good
You know
one.
what? Good one. You know what? Since we're on that, who do we project to have a strong
For the
2026 for
Tekla.
the ladies? Is
Tekla.
Tekla. I'm gonna agree with you. I think we haven't seen the what the surface brings for Tekla in 2026 in all elite wrestling. I was gonna say Megan Bain, but I
She's a
think
good
we've
no. She's a good one too. Her and Tekla. If you want to do, because
okay.
if you want to, they both can be. But if you want to do this something where you still want to make Collision strong, you could have Tekla.
I like that
Have her
thought
be on
process.
Dynamite, but you could have her kind of lead that show on Collision. Eventually, when Mercedes loses that TBS title, throw that on her. Whatever. Have Statlander be the face of, and then of Dynamite, and then have Megan Bain chase that title, and then Tekla can eventually be in there when she drops the TNT title in the future. That's how I would book it.
I like your thought on it. The reason why I'm going to lead more towards Tekla, I like Megan Bain as well, but I think we saw Megan Bain already in the world title picture. Granted, it was against the Tony Storm, and again, it was a little too early where they weren't going. We knew that they were going to lead to Mercedes and Tony at All In, and they put her there. Creative didn't really do her that good justice, but in a blink of an eye, 2026 is like a new canvas when it comes to professional wrestling, especially in normal
Mm-hmm.
elite wrestling, where they change the narrative. Not really much storylines. They start with a clean slate. So I could see where, like you said, a scenario where Megan be the breakout for 2026 or Tekla. I'm hoping it's Tekla. I think there's something there with Tekla. I don't know if that sister or the triangle of madness type of deal is really going to work. If Tekla is going to be that breakout, I kind of feel that maybe that's something that they might have to abandon or part different ways. Because if you're going to be a breakout star, you can't have your sisters wrestling in the pre-show, and it wasn't a good matchup. If you watched the show yesterday, but it's not about criticizing them; it's about giving our awards and recognizing the 2025 year in professional wrestling. Breakout star. You said it? Did we mention our male breakout star that we might see in
Yes.
20? Who do you have?
Oh, who that I might see in
26,
2026?
26. Yes,
Ooh.
that might have an opportunity. Like, ooh, you know what? I could
Kevin
see.
Knight.
Ooh, I like that. You know what? Pretty cool. Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight breakout. I'm thinking out this one. This one had me a little bit. I'm real. Although I'm not a big fan, I don't see the limelight in him. But I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna go on a wild one. I'm gonna go Hook because he's with Samoa
Okay.
Joe. He's currently with Samoa Joe. With Hobbs Shibata, that whole ops situation there. His father returning back to commentary, where Tony wants make keep keep the Taz family a little happy, not not jumping ship, especially if others are leaving. So I don't know. I could see Hook might be our breakout 2026 wrestler, male wrestler of the year. And only really getting that big push where you're like, oh wow, Hook is a major important battles and going forward for that here. Let me go. Let's get our next All Elite Wrestling as we just started. So salute Heather. We just started. We gave our awards for a cup for breakout wrestler Harley Cameron. Mine's Chris had Chris Statlander, of course, and we had Bandito and Kyle Fletcher. And of course, now let's go with who do you feel was the top heel in All Elite Wrestling in 2025?
Ooh. Oh my God. I don't know. I couldn't. Oof. I mean, they don't do a good job of really telling you who's who or making it seem like who's who. So,
Fair point. Fair point.
um, Okada. I
Kata.
mean, Samoa. I don't know. Samoa Joe's heel turn's kind of recent. I wouldn't really give it to him. Um, Maybe Okada. He's been a consistent heel all year. But that's who I would got. I don't know. I can't really think of anyone else who's
So
obviously you want to say I'm Jeff, but he just got back. Not he's hasn't been there all year. I really can't give it to him. You could give it to Moxley. I have him for another award, but I would have to say Okada. I don't know who else has been a consistent heel on all year on TV. That's a
all
hard
right.
one.
My golden saber for top heel in all elite wrestling is John Moxley because I never seen a guy rally so many wrestling sickos to want him to lose
That's
that
fair.
title, dislike him, calling for him to be even removed from the whole company. That's what a heel's supposed to do. You're supposed to dislike, discredit, and celebrate no matter who would have won. It could have been anyone, the butcher to beat for him with the elite title, and
Hmm.
everybody would have celebrated. So that's what to me. That's why I got to give Moxie my golden saber award for this year's top heel in all elite wrestling.
That's fair. That's a good pick. I like that.
All right, let's go on to let's give the woman I'll go on. So I give you a little bit of a time to think. My female top heel
I know.
female in the company to me is Mercedes
That's my
because
answer as well.
I mean, I never seen like the same reason I gave John Moxley that most
Hmm.
hated heel is her as a female. Everyone got a little bit over putting or off putting of her winning so many different titles, and from the steak eating the raw that
Yep.
disgusting dry steak at ringside, and all the complaints of people saying her promos are cringy and yada yada. That's heel. She got the heat, and I think she to me she deserves the Golden Saber top female heel in all elite wrestling.
I have nothing else to add. You're 100% correct. That was what I was. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
It could have been overblown. Somebody's got to win it, though. Somebody's got to win it. Somebody's got to win an award on it. So we get the male and female. Let's this one. You want to go? What do you want to go? Match of the year for All Elite Wrestling? That's a
Sure.
tough one because a lot of
That's a
them are
tough
tough.
one. No, that's a tough one. I think that's a good. I think that's obviously a good category or a good award to debate about. There has been some good matches. For me, call me a sicko, but it is it's Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay in the Owen finals at Double or Nothing. That's my match of the year.
That's a good one. Good one.
We watched it
Um,
together backstage.
yes, we
We
did.
watched it together backstage, and I again recently you've been more open to covering AEW, watching it, but that was at a time where maybe you weren't, and I think even that match kept us invested. So
Yes.
I love that match. So yeah, I would say Osprey Hangman, the finals of the Owen at Double or Nothing.
I'm one of those guys that like the story and the feel good moment of completing a mission. One of the completing the mission because the company was at a pinnacle point where if John Moxley would have kept holding on to the world title, who knows how many viewers were actually going to abandon the company, actually turn off, not cover, not watch, not cared. So that Hangman Page John Moxley match to me was very very important, and to me that has to be for me the match of the year because it really solidified and galvanized a sickle fan base that was already to its wits. They were ready to say, "I'm done with the company," and to me,
That
that's
would
match
be
of the year.
that would be my moment of the year.
Okay, fair, fair, fair. I got it as the match because it was so
That would
important.
be my moment of the year.
Okay,
Is Hangman gaining that AEW title out of the briefcase? That would, yes. I the match was
fair,
fun,
good
and
one,
the
good
moment
one.
makes it worthy of that. But I would say for me, that's more of a moment of the year.
All right, and since we're in a moment of the year, my moment to me was Briscoe winning the title finally,
I love
achieving
that.
an opportunity where he lost with all the tragically story emotional story behind losing his brother, being cast as a tag team wrestler, getting over that hump, losing in some tournaments, whether it was the Owen, where it was in the Continental Classic, and never get always a bridesmaid, and finally breaking through and beating a super uber up and coming Kyle Fletcher. To me, Briscoe was the moment of the year for me because I identify, not identify, I could see his struggle to trying to getting over that hump and overcoming something and breaking through. To me, that was a great moment for All Elite Wrestling because how do you not gonna go against Briscoe, Jay Briscoe like that? So to me, that's why I kind of flip flopped the match of the year a little bit with John Moxley. I understand it was important, but I kind of felt personalized with Jay winning that, and that's why I flip flopped on those moments. I'm there.
No, I love that. That's a great moment. Again, Mark Briscoe really shouldn't be on TV. Due to some things that the Warner Brothers, whatever, whatever. If you know, you know. So I love that. That's a really good answer.
Yeah, that's why I said let me hold that one there. Any be honest with you, I'm trying to figure out a female match of the year
A
candidacy. Do you have
female match of the year? Yeah, so am I. I
I
can't.
know a little bit of
If
difficult one there.
if I personally, I hate to say it, like I personally, I don't think any fall under the category, but I will say the women's blood and guts was pretty good.
That's a good one. That's a match. The women's blood and guts.
So I
We
would
can
say the
nominate that
women's
as
blood
match of
and
the year.
guts. So I'm gonna say the
Absolutely.
women's blood and
And
guts.
you could easily
Again, love women's wrestling. Not love, but want to see it grow, want to see it do better. There are people that I like in the company. I don't think AEW's women's division has hit for me this year. I think there's a lot of things with the Mercedes and Tony just being the only ones focused till now, recently at the end of the year. Um, but the blood and guts match for the women, in my opinion, the match, not the story, the match was better than the men. And again, Mercedes and Chris Statlander didn't outshine the other ladies, giving the other ladies a chance to shine, like Sky Blue and Willow for a long time. So it would be the women's blood and guts for me.
okay, that could be match, or you could put a moment to see a women give a moment for the women's wrestling
Yeah,
in
I
that
thought it
in
was
that
cool.
cage.
That
I
was a
I agree.
yeah, that was a good that was fun. That was a
Yeah,
fun match to watch. So I if I had to pick one, I'd say the women's blood and guts.
the Statlander beating the belt off for Tony Storm was a shock, and that could be moment of the year. You could easily give that as well.
Yeah, no,
The
I
only the
agree.
only thing that held me back, I wasn't confident if Statlander was going to be
You know what?
transitional
You
with
want a men's
Mercedes around there lurking, and with her creative control had me worried.
uh-huh.
That had me worried at that to really think about how the magnitude was for Statlander beating Tony Storm at that moment, and maybe that should be the match of the year.
I'll tell you one that just popped in my head. If we're not counting a blood and guts match because that's
Oh
gimmicked or
yeah, how would you
whatever,
forget about this one? You know what? You're totally correct. Mariah
I'm
May and Tony
actually gonna
Storm.
give it to Athena,
Correct.
and I'm actually gonna give it to Athena and Mercedes and the Owen on that
I
anniversary
was
special
thinking
on
about that.
Dynamite. On the anniversary special on Dynamite, that was the last time Dynamite felt like a big show, and I think those two women killed it. So if I had to put a one-on-one match, my women's match of the year is Athena versus Mercedes Moné in the Owen tournament.
That's a good one. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna settle. I'm gonna go with the guy Zero Cool, Tony Storm, Mariah May, because what was the main thing out of that match that came out of that pay per view? That should have been their main event to close out Los Angeles.
Hmm.
That way that match ended. You're right. That is the women's
I
match of
agree.
the year
I
because
agree.
that should have closed the
That's fair.
pay per view at that time. and for the women to think about that, for people to clamor outside and say that should have ended for at that time in AEW,
Mhm.
yeah, we have to give that
I agree.
consideration. And
That's
I think
fair.
that is I'm
That's fair.
resending it and making that the
I
women's
agree.
match. Thank you, Zero Cool. You gave us
No,
a
I
good one there.
agree. Yeah,
You gave us a
that's a
good
good
one.
one.
That's your AEW. And we have now we did the male match of the year. We said that already.
Tag team.
Let's go tag team. Now, this isn't generalization because of the men and women. We're going to put them together because, granted, the women just started their
Yeah.
division, so it's not fair to give someone where there is not much body of work. But you can nominate them as the best tag team of the year if you want to put them there as your Golden Saber. Who do you have as your best tag team in All Elite
Bro
Wrestling in
Dito.
2025? I tend to agree. Clean sweep.
It's not even a question. You could argue there were two guys paired together. I think they made it really worth it. They had a good tag teams had a run. They're still doing well. I enjoy Brodito. I think it's good for Brody King. I would like to see him step out and be a singles wrestler. But if this is something for both of them to do and they're in a big spot on TV, I like it. So my AW tag team is Brodito.
It's Brodito. Okay. I can't argue or give you a great rebuttal of any other tag teams that come off the top of my head right now. If you got the Young Bucks, if we wanted the storylines where there were the broke bucks and all that stuff, you want to, FTR continues to give you the matches, but a lot of people say they tend to be a little boring at times. That's their stigma that they have on them. But I think Brodito captivated everyone because this was a team that you didn't see them coming together and they made it work. Like people were pleasantly surprised when they won the tag team titles and then defending it. And like I told you, the breakout from Bandito and then Brody finally, unfortunately situation for Buddy Matthews getting injured. They made the
Yeah.
best of the year, and
Hmm.
and look where they are now. I totally agree with you. The best right there. So, all right. So, what are we missing for the best male?
Just male and female of the year.
Let's go. All Elite Wrestling best female of the year. Who do you have for the best female of the company?
Tony Storm. I think she is the biggest superstar that female division has right now. With Britt Baker being sidelined, all that stuff. I think just her being the women's world champion brings some type of presence, some type of something to look forward to. I think she's been the only one trying to tell a consistent story in whatever the fake Marilyn Monroe gimmick's supposed to be. Um, Even with her Luther guy coming back the other day dressed as Santa. I mean, I'll give it to Tony Storm, and I think she shouldn't have. I don't know why John Alba in Sports Illustrated. I'm not gonna come at you like some other people, but she is not best on the mic in all of wrestling, but in the company and female, I would maybe give it to her. So I would, for that reason, I'd say Tony Storm's my female of the year for the company.
I cannot disagree with you. I cannot disagree with you with Tony Storm because she's the one that has transcended the women's division, where we could have easily said out of those pay-per-views that they given us, at least three out of those nine, or she could have easily closed those shows.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the star power on Tony Storm, and that's a good thing. Her Mercedes, you could have said if they, other than All Out, if they would have done that match on a different PLE or pay per view, they could have closed it. The Mariah May, Tony Storm should have closed that pay per view, and then I believe there's another one that she had with Statlander. You could have put it anywhere, and that could have been the main event closer. So she has that gravitas, star power for Tony Storm for the AEW's 2025 Women's Wrestler of the Year, Best Wrestler of the Year. For the men's side, this one's going to be difficult. This one's going to be a little bit because
I know mine.
go ahead. I have
John
to think.
Moxley,
Okay.
because as much as I don't want to give him that, that's why I waited to say his name, because when you talk about, look, I did not like the Death Rider storyline. I thought it should have ended a long time ago, even before All In. All In should have just been the stamp. But I will say this, for Moxley, who has never taken a break, who has missed vacation with his family, Renee, I think she talked about one time they were supposed to do whatever. He missed it because the company needed Moxley to be the world champion just for a little bit longer until Darby, until the Owen was done. I mean, he he really eats, sleeps, and breathes AEW. And Zero Bandito is a very good answer. I think he's more of a breakout wrestler of the year just by him where he was last year till now. I really like your answer, but I will give that more for breakout. But that I respect your answer and that you could definitely have that debate. I would say Moxley again consistently. He was there when the company needed him. He and he basically extended his run longer than he had to make AEW at least something. You have John Moxley, somebody everyone knows as your world champion, top of the card. You're going to be interested, and people are going to be, I don't know, not interested anymore or as much, but there's still going to be some interest if you extend the story and keep it going. And again, they had to do that because they were at a time where Swerve is gone down, Osprey's gone down, MJF's filming, Darby's climbing Mount Everest. I mean, I gotta give it to Moxley.
And I'm going to add to that. In a company where you just mentioned those different accolades, where there's a lot of personal selfishness, this man was unselfish to not just once and several occasions to put his personal time away with his family, risking divorce or mischief at home to the betterment of all elite wrestling. Whether it, they Punk burning the company and he says, "Oh no, I'll put that aside and you guys need me as an interim champion, I'm there." Whatever the case was, regardless of the fact if you did not like John Moxley's storyline with the Death Riders, it was oversaturated with stupidity, nonsense, Ultimate Warrior type
Mm-hmm.
of promos and all that good stuff. The guy is there. Does he bleed? Just wiping his ass? Yes. But he's there for all elite wrestling. To me, that's the wrestler of the year because regardless, he's a lightning rod for
I
conversation.
agree, man.
Either you dislike him or don't like him, you're going to have a conversation about him. All right, why is he with the title again? Why is he with Marina Shafino? Why is it? There's always a lot of questions of why, and he keeps the conversation going. And to me, that's wrestler of the year. I know the matches great. No one said that he's not the greatest in ring. I get it. There's probably other wrestlers who have great bangers of the match, but I need someone who's gonna for me to be a wrestler of the year. Gotta move the needle, and I think regardless like it or not, for other reasons, Moxley does move the needle on that man. It would have been Moxley for me, but that title reign was dreadful. Not an individual fault, but the early Death Riders were so bad. Yeah, but he was there. He kept you watching to see the end. Everybody tuned in to see the demise and the end of John Moxley, and I think to me that put him over the top. All right, let's go right into TNA. Wait, any particular PLE? Let me go with this pay per view of the year that you enjoyed, your personal pay per view. Before we go to TNA,
Hmm. I thought Double or Nothing was cool because you had the two Owen finals. Even though it wasn't in Vegas, it kind of that would have been my pay per view of the year if that. I don't know. I thought I would say all in Texas. A stadium show in America looked really good on TV. The setup was really well. Um, a lot was talked about. You had Darby come back. It just looked really good. And a lot of things happened. Adam Cole talked. You had a little bit of sad.
emotion.
Dustin Rhodes got his moment. I would say all in Texas.
Absolutely. I'm going with you at all in Texas as well for the reason. Here's the reason why I say that's their best pay per view because it showed in a world where other companies, WWE was petty to put a show early, counter programming. They found a sweet spot to go at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and everyone got to eat their cake and eat it too because we were able to watch Great American Bash. You could have watched All In, and you still watch Saturday night's main event,
Yeah.
and show that you could still have your 5 hour premium pay per view linked shows if you put it. And there's a recipe. If you put it early afternoon on a Saturday, people will watch because the metrics show that they had a lot of good buy-ins. Not only not and it showed not only for All In when they did the show in All Out in Toronto when they started it early.
And
It showed
Forbidden
that they
Door.
had and yes, because they had showed the metrics that people bought it more and people viewed it more because it started early, especially if you want your audience to stick around for 5 to 6 hours. I thought that was a really good barometer for all elite wrestling pay per view. What's going on? We got good evening there. I wanted to say hello, salute to you. Absolutely. Um, we're gonna move on now to total nonstop action. TNA. Yes, indeed. TNA. Who? Which category you want to go first? Because to me, it's a tough one, man. This whole TNA, I don't want to leave anyone slight out of it
Yeah, we don't
because
want to leave anyone out, but
no, but we got to pick. We
I
got to do the tough choices here. At
I
TNA.
will do.
You want to go top heel, babyface, tag team of the year? From
Tag team of the year. Sure, I'll do tag team of the year. Because that's an easy one. It's the Hardys. Okay, the Hardys
go
are the
ahead.
tag team of the year, not just in TNA and all of wrestling. They're again they're the Mercedes Monets of the tag team division, but the other championships that they have mean something. They're there to put the companies over at their shows. They promote the companies, vice versa, and they're the whole reason AMC is. You cannot watch a movie on AMC and not see the fucking Hardy Boys pop up since they announced that deal. So, tag team of the year, TNA's and Hardys.
Yeah, there's no debate about that. Tag team of the year for the male. If you want to go male, in a category or period is the Hardys because going
It's
and winning
yeah.
NXT Gold, House of Glory Gold, Fourth Rope Gold. These are companies that you heard of. You could find them in Triller TV, not some company, no disrespect, out in Poland or I don't know, anywhere outside of the United States that you never heard of. At least Rev Pro, you could hear, have heard of them, but other companies you never heard of. No disrespect, but the ones that the Hardys are carrying are respectable independent wrestling companies that you listen, you heard of, you seen, you know who the owners, you name the wrestlers. Hardys, like you said, you look at the meet and greet lines. For personal experience, these people stay until like 3, 4 in the morning in these arenas with the talent to make sure that everyone who purchased a meet and greet, the Hardys attend to, take the proper pictures, not just 3 seconds. Next, they actually take the time to meet, speak, give that Hardy experience to each one of those or to watch along. They go above and beyond. Great to me for them being the tag team of the year. Honorable mentions you could give the Nemitz because they did something shocking another brother team winning the tag team titles. You could give them honorable mentions, but the significance of the Hardys as a tag team of the year, they're very big. They're very important to the company and to the tag team division. Seeing them in Bound for Glory against the Dudleys or 3D, all that stuff they did, they have done. So we got to give them that. For me, if you want to go female, there to me, I actually want to say it's going to be Spitfire. I know Ash by Elegance is so easy to give that tag team for women for the
Oh,
knockouts.
I don't think any of these women deserve the tag team of the year.
I
Dude,
think Spitfire.
that tag team division for the women has been so hard to watch all year.
Okay.
I don't even know if Splitfire. I mean, I like them when they're a tag team, but my problem is they broke up. They did this whole fighting for Indy Hartwell. They had a match in a meeting, not in a meaningless impact, but in a tape impact. I think there was so much. It felt like to me the Ortiz and Santana thing in AEW with them.
Okay.
For if I had to pick one, and I can't hear my. It's gonna be it's a shocker, but I'm gonna have to say the inspiration, bro.
All right.
I'm gonna
Hey,
have to say the
I can see the logic
inspiration
behind it. They haven't been in the ring
because
for years and they come back. I have no problem.
they come back. They're consistent. They have some name value. I would have to say the inspiration, but I my goal for 2026 with this division is I not put focus because I think they do that, but I don't know. I don't want. It felt like a little bit of okay. They had their match at the PLE. boom, they're done. Like you can drag the stories out a little bit. You can drag trilogies out. You don't have to run new matches every pay-per-view between the women's tag team division. That's what it felt like. So that's my only thing when I mean it was kind of hard to watch. It just some of okay, we're going backwards sometimes. Okay, we're fine. Now we're so but there were some good matches. I'm not gonna say all the matches were bad. There were some good matches, but I would have to say the inspiration.
All right. Okay. I could see your logic. I have no problem listening to that. Hopefully, this is an area where the knockouts division could get some influx of some talent. We've seen Jada Stone, Mila Moore brought into the company. Other talent, maybe some NXT representation from here and there as a tag team. Rosemary looks like they're teaming her up with Killer Kelly. Killer Kelly's return back to the company is something huge. Part of MSK Ultra, but we don't, all that stuff. We know she's done tag teams as well. So let's see what 2026. But for 2025, who is your breakout female? Since we're on the topics of the knockouts of the
Breakout
year,
female of the year. Hmm. That's a good one. I think there are a couple that could be. You could maybe put Ying Ying Lee in that category. You could put Ash by Elegant, even though the way her run ended, but you could. That's a tough one. Mm, bro, that is a tough one. That might be
it's
the
a good
toughest
one.
one, in my opinion. Hmm. I liked I don't wanna say Tessa because I think there's still more to her to do. I think she'll be the breakout star of 2026. Uh, huh, 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 huh. That's a good one, man. I mm, do I wanna say Indy, but she lost in front of her parent in front of her that's the toughest one on the list, I'm gonna be honest. TNA Women's Breakout of the Year.
That's a good one. I
Would it
like that
have to
one.
be Ying Ying Lee?
Okay, that's who you want to give your
I would
sage.
have to give it to Ying Ying Lee. I mean, she's done the best she could with promoting herself. I mean, she's going into the year right now as the face of the knockouts division. And she's hasn't really been no one really thought. Um, especially with the language barrier, and she's not really the most popular. So she's had a good year. I would give it to Ying Ying Lee. But that was a tough one to think about there for a little bit. And it still kind of is.
All right, my golden saber for that category will be Ash by Elegance. I tell you why. Ash came in with the personal conciliere, a surprise, a little bit of is this a Tony Storm gimmick infringement ripoff a little bit there? But she made it a little bit different. Found herself a tag team partner in Heather by Elegance, H, and they won capture tag team gold. They beat Spitfire, who was the longest reigning knockout tag team champions. Where kind of we saw that little bit of that on the writing on the wall. That all right, we might be some new knockouts. They might give Heather and Ash a chance to win the titles. Okay, all right, but then when no one expected her going into Heat Wave and winning the TNA Knockouts title from JC Jane, who a month earlier captured it at Slammiversary, going in there in the way she did, where we all thought, oh well, Ash is going in there to take the pin, due to the fact that she's tag team champions anyway. So she's still got a title, and no, she shocked the world. She went in there in rarefied air on WWE programming and win the title, and that moment of her in the stairs with her head in the lap, like unbelievable. You could even put that as moment of the year if you like to, which is not my moment of the year, but to me, that's the breakout female of the year, for me for 2025 when it comes to TNA wrestling.
That's fair. Yeah, Ash is a good answer. I like that.
All right, let's go into their male breakout of the year.
Hmm. I would have to give it to Leon. Um, obviously the young bruv. I think obviously him beating Moose as the underdog at Slammiversary, which again can't thank TNA management enough for allowing me and Kev to witness that in person. That was fun, dude. I haven't even on TV. I haven't seen a crowd really get excited for somebody being an underdog and beating somebody in that company all year. Besides, Santana finally winning the title. So And he was just in John Cena's Saturday Night's Main Event card. He's being featured in WWE NXT a lot. I would have to give it to Leon Slater.
It's a clean sweep because of all those same reasons. Leon Slater winning. Not only that, going alongside and kind of was seen that was taken under the wing by the Hardys.
Mm-hmm.
With 6-man tag where when Jeff couldn't go over the border, Leon was the honorary Hardy to team up, working alongside the Hardy Boys, professionalism, the moments that he provided in his match with Leon Slater, the X Division, the open and Ultimate X that he did. Of course, people will complain, and it was a little careless of him doing that. Senton 450 from all the way up there, but still, it still was a wild moment. Winning from Moose, who was the franchise at that time, nickname still is considered the franchise of TNA, winning in that Slammiversary. Not only that, crossing over to WWE television, not only NXT with Javon Evans, like you mentioned, being singled out by WWE television, where John Cena wants him on his final card, on there, win a match with AJ Styles, and AJ Styles coming out and actually, congratulating him as the next division champion at Slammiversary, and now becoming the number one contender to close out the year in NXT television, where he has a chance to start 2026 as NXT World Champion. To me, that's the breakout star of TNA for the male division is Leon Slater. So good job there for the young in charge, the young bruv, like we like to call him, Leon Slater. Congratulations to him. He gets our golden saber. Let's go. Favorite match of the year in TNA.
Santana and Ali at Rebellion. No question.
That was a very good one, and that was
No question.
nominated by them.
I don't even need to think twice. Santana and Ali at Rebellion. That's my match of the year for TNA. That match
Very
was
good one.
phenomenal.
It was. It was to me.
It was worth staying up that late to watch it, bro.
I never sweat so much and so excited. Genuinely, it wasn't a fake reaction. It was so genuine with me going back and forth. I thought I was gonna get freaking Parkinson's with the way I was moving and excited. Was that number one contenders match in Rhode Island between Mike Santana and Joe Hendry? A simple back and forth roll up, and I was so in because they took me on that roller coaster because I wanted it so bad for Mike Santana to win that number one contendership after that personal experience that we had at Slammiversary.
Mhm.
To me, that's why I.
Oh
to
yeah,
me,
that was the first impact after Slammiversary. Yeah,
that was for me. That's why I consider that for me
that's a good
my
one.
match of the year for me because it took me personally in that investment because I was so in that Mike Santana. We got to get you back. We got to find some way. We can't enough with the obstacles and then that back and forth, that sequence ending, and if you see it online where I'm just going crazy back and forth, look like I'm there. Someone's gonna like a gorilla waiting for a banana because I'm just anticipating the final ending of that match. To me, it took me on that emotional roller coaster. It took it, and I escaped as a host. I
It was
became a
good.
fan, and I loved it.
I
That's why
like
I
that.
given that the golden saber on that.
I love that. That was a really good match.
Female match of the year for TNA.
Female match of the year for TNA. There were a couple good ones I liked actually. I because of the anticipation, because of this female match felt like the one that I spent the most time covering all year. What I mean by that is all the build up to it. For me, it's not really because of the match. I would say Masha and JC Jane at Slammiversary because that was the first time where the knockouts championship match didn't feel predictable. Like obviously we kind of had a feeling that JC Jane was gonna win, but we're in New York. Masha, she's starting to get some juice going. I thought she really was gonna win that title, and I was like, even talking about it in our preview show we did in person in the hotel. Even just that was one of the matches that I was like paying fully attention to at the show. I would give match of the year for that reason. Masha and JCJ Slammiversary.
I'm with you on that, and we didn't speak. It's funny because for the same kind of reasons. Because a month prior to that, JC Jane shocked the world and beat the most hottest female wrestler in Stephanie
Stephanie Beck,
Blackmare.
yeah.
And was it a fluke? We had all those questions. Was that a fluke? Did she get her bell rung by mistake where she lost conscious for 3 seconds and oh well the referee, like we saw the Blake Monroe and Thea Hale situation.
Mm-hmm.
Did that happen with JC Jane? We had a lot of doubts more than giving credit to credit is due for JC. And then we go, wait a minute, she's going to New York. Marsha's backyard, Brooklyn for her. But they didn't say that JC was from New Jersey, but she went into hostile territory, into TNA territory, and the match was just a brutal match back and forth. It was a really good match because we were there and we were invested into it because we didn't, again, it was a 50-50. We did not know who was going to win. We made cases where how it would have benefited TNA for them to capture the women's NXT title
Mm-hmm.
because they just won the NXT men's. We were thought, well, and even trade, all right, you'll get you that and we'll see. But no, they actually made it where it elevated and made you feel more a certain way for NXT. Like, they won that title. They have another title. So I like the story that they were laying the bed for the rest of the year of the
Yeah.
collaboration between them. And I think that match really was the one that started it all. Of course, then we know what happened at the main event, but that one really started the dislike for the TNA wrestlers losing to the NXT wrestlers. Like, if you're a TNA fan, you're like, you started to get that pit in your stomach of why you dislike that them winning those titles, and I thought that laid the foundation, and that's why I got to give it the female match of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I
All
love
right,
that.
let's go with the best moment in TNA.
Oh, you were there for that. It's AJ Styles coming at Slammiversary. No question. It's for personal reasons. Kev knows I was freaking out. I loved it. AJ Styles is the reason I fell in love with TNA. To see him in a TNA ring in person when nobody ever thought he would ever show up there again. That's not just a moment of the year. For me, because I was there, that is a moment I will never forget. And I have a video, and one of these days on stream, I'll play it. But the day he tore his ACL at the Hershey Live show, I was the first person he went when he walked out of the crowd. So I got to finish, and I got to meet him, give a fist bump twice at the end Raw in Wilkes-Barre. So I got to fist bump him twice, too sweet, and I got to see him in a TNA ring. Beautiful, beautiful. That is my moment of the year.
All right, cool. I mean, no. To me, I thought you were gonna say three team D losing to the Hardys, but I mean, no.
It would have been Santana if he would have won at Slammiversary. Us being there would have been the fucking cherry on top. But no, that can't be my moment of the year. So yeah, it's AJ making an appearance at Slammiversary, dude.
You know what I'm gonna go? It's not. It's a really non-conventional. It's something way back in the beginning of the year for me, and I'll explain. I think it's TNA Rebellion, and that could be easily the best pay-per-view or the best moment. I'm gonna say why. This is the first time that TNA looked like that made you believe at that moment in February, looking back at it, they could fill big arenas. That was the genesis, no pun intended, the beginning of the TNA could fill UBS Arena, could fill the big stadium, the big seat state arenas like in Winslow, not Winslow, in Low, Massachusetts, in El Paso looking, and they could get 4,000 to 5,000 tops or more, plus an event. And I think when they did that in Los Angeles, in Southern California, it kind of told and especially on the new direction of the new president Carlos Silva, the uncertainty with Scott Demore, where the hell this company's heading. They say they're announcing they're going to the UBS Arena in July. Good luck with that. Get the tarps. And when I saw Rebellion and seeing the way that venue looked full, if you go back and look at it, because I watched it during the week, I don't really watch wrestling, but when they did the TNA reviews and I looked at it and I started looking at the crowd, I said, you know what? Son of a gun. That told TNA they could really fill these arenas with fans, and they've done it. So to me, that's their moment of the year for me for TNA is that pay per view, and you could even make that to me. That's going to be both pay per view of the year because it told them that they could fill it. Of course, Slammiversary should be the pay per view of the year,
That's
which it
the
is
inaugural
because a
pay-per-view
lot
of
of
the
the
year.
awards came from
Right.
Slammiversary, but you could make an argument for that as well.
Rebellion, no, Rebellion was
Yeah.
phenomenal. Obviously Slammiversary is my pay-per-view of the year. But let's do something a little different. I thought this one is hard because I even the PLEs I thought were pretty decent.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable was fine. I don't know though. I do I want to say I'm not gonna say Bound for Glory, but obviously there were some really good matches that came out of that. Felt like a big show, but I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one because I thought all of them were good essentially, in their own different way. But for me, I mean, it would obviously, but I'm trying to think of a good one besides Slam. I would have to say Rebellion, because
Yeah,
that was I would have to say, yeah, Rebellion was very good. Yeah, yeah,
I agree
they
with you
all were
because
good though. I enjoyed a lot of the PLEs or pay per
the
views this
one
year,
that
PLEs,
one that
whatever.
I'm losing or my least was the one in Arizona after the one in June right before Slammiversary that they did it like 2 weeks right after Trick Williams won the title that they put Elias instead of giving Joe Henry the number one
Was
contendership.
that? Uh,
That was a PLE. That was a
that was a
Friday night
PLE.
PLE.
That was a purple. It was purple. Was it Turning Point? No, Turning Point. You were at.
Was it no? Yeah, Turning Point.
You were at Turning
I
Point.
was
It
in Turning
was
Point, Orlando.
Was that Unbreakable?
I think that was Unbreakable, and then which is the one that was on Las Vegas, where
That
When Steve
wasn't
Macklin won
no, that
the,
was
that was a
Unbreakable.
really good one.
Okay, that was
That one was
Unbreakable.
good when Steve Macklin won the international title in that tournament. When we saw Max Warner in that match, there was that PLE was
Yes.
freaking phenomenal. Even though it was late in Vegas time, but it was freaking phenomenal. I enjoyed it. I did not like too much was the one in Arizona. I thought that one
Okay.
was the one that wasn't my favorite because we kind of knew that Mike had to do Puerto Rican weekend and he couldn't be there, and it kind of messed up
Mhm.
a little bit of the creative plans and all that stuff. It was just that was a little bit convoluted. That's probably why we didn't enjoy it too much. I know Joe Henry didn't get his contract obligation match. It was
Mhm.
Elias. It was weird, that's why it made us scream to the heavens when Santino announced him to be in Slammiversary main event. We're like, wait a minute, it should be Mike. He's number one contender. My point is, but Slammiversary is their best pay per view of the year. It's in numbers wise. I know they say Bound for Glory had more people, and then the numbers change. Now the numbers keeps getting smaller. Where the UBS Arena had the 7,700 plus. That place was full. We were there, and that place was full to the rafters. I mean, I thought they were going to announce 9,000. That's how I thought I did, but no, that 77 was felt there, and yeah, I thought it was, to me, Slammiversary was their best pay per view of the year, or for TNA. I don't care what you say about For Glory. Even though Mike finished the story there, and it was great to see him winning it, but I still think Slammiversary, just the magnitude of people that came out to support was freaking off the chart, off the chart. You didn't need it, Yeah, and then the thing is, they didn't even announce AJ Styles on like what that Friday to Slammiversary. They didn't say they
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah, so they didn't need to. They just
And yeah, that wasn't going to determine whether we were going or
they
not.
built the house. They built the house with the TNA talent, where Bound for Glory was built with the retiring talent and Bully Ray and Team D and the
Mhm.
Hall of Fame. They didn't need that. Slammiversary was just announcing Santana beating AJ Francis, losing to Santana in that street fight in Pittsburgh, led to that wave of people going to Slammiversary when he was announced that he was going to be part of that triple threat. So that's why I got to give Slammiversary. Let's go with the who's your best female wrestler of TNA in 2025?
Mm. It's always tough with the knockouts, man. I would see. Okay, I don't want to say no, not much. See, this one's a tough one. This one's a tough one as well. I can't. I'm trying to think of somebody who stood out, and then because again, we have this problem that we say this every week. They don't have that knockout that stands out. They don't have, that's why they had JC Jane going in there, all that stuff. I wouldn't give it to her. I, I, you know what? I would just have. I don't know. Maybe Ying. I don't want to know. I don't want to say Ying Lee because she has not been on top of the card, but it's like She has had decent matches. She's been consistent with Zaya Brookside, and she's going into the new AMC deal as a champion.
Okay,
I
fair.
can't really think of anybody else that stood out to me this year. So I would say Ying Ying. Maybe she's breakout and knockout of the year.
I want to give this is an honorable mention. It's not my female of the year. I want to give her honorable mentions because not a lot of people are going to give her the honorable mentions. Um, the reason why I'm giving her an honorable mentions, this lady showed up on NXT television to work, cross promote, no titles involved, and the crowd in NXT were going crazy to cheer her on, and she still gets cheered. Even when I went to TNA in Orlando, when they came and did Turning Point and the tapings, is Rosemary. She's not my woman's rest of the year. No, I'm not, I'm gonna clear it up, but I got to give her a lot of honorable mentions. She is over with the crowd. You heard her going. People were going bananas and nuts for her in NXT, going Rosemary, Rosemary. Good to hear people respect and hear her. We know she's a heel. We know she's supposed to be this demented heel, crazy. We get it. We know that. That's her stigma. But the crowd still likes her, whichever company she's in. I just wanted to give her her flowers, her honorable mentions. But for me, the female of the year, I have to give it to Ash by Elegance, because she just went into NXT territory. Not only won that title the moment, and then put over Kalani Jordan when she had to retire, and still sticking around with the company. Not just, well, I'm sick, I'm out. See you later. Send me my checks home. She's still out there doing media. She's still out doing the meet and greets. She still goes for tapings. Ash still shows her face, waving the TNA flag, where she's not an in-ring competitor, but she's helping out, with Kalani, well, with the Elegance brand, with M being with George the Iceman getting over the Elegance brand. So I kind of want to give that to Ash. I could see where you want to give Ying Ying Lee an opportunity to be your women's wrestler of the year. Not enough body of work because there was some PLEs she was left off. She was left off Slammiversary. Remember, I don't think she wrestled in Bound for Glory either. So I can't give her that if she's not in the two biggest shows of the company. So that's why I got to hold her back for now. Like
Fair,
you said, maybe that's something for 2026 for Ying Ying Lee, or
fair.
down the road, for her. This one's a tough one. Male wrestler of the year. This was a tough one, and I know we have our bias, but I can make a case for other wrestlers as well.
It's not Mike. Mine's not Mike Santana.
Okay,
Mine
that's
is Joe
fair.
Hendry.
Mm.
Had a match against Randy Orton at WrestleMania as the TNA World Champion. Gave TNA in the singles run a lot of publicity, a lot of marketing with him on a lot of major media outlets. I love you, again. I can't be biased. Santana's my runner up. He is my runner up. Now I'm not. I'm not. I want to go into NXT right after before we do WWE
Yeah,
close it out
absolutely. Yes.
because I'm gonna be honest. I could name if I'm not going to, but you can because I'm gonna. I would get, and the reason I say that is because I would give Trick Williams my NXT male wrestler of the year, and I hate to jump ahead, but I'm saying that because I'm having a tough time thinking to myself, I could make a case about Trick Williams being a TNA wrestler of the year
Oh, yes.
because I mean we witnessed it firsthand, but he's the reason why TNA got that run they did in the summer. He is responsible for that. But I'm going to put Joe Hendry because Joe Hendry, in my opinion, set Trick up for that. Does that make sense? By going to the
He
Royal
laid the
Rumble,
yes.
he laid the foundation for Trick to take that to another level. So I put him, and I hate to jump ahead, but I'll put him as my. I want him to put him for TNA Wrestler of the Year, but if I'm doing TNA talent, I do Joe Hendry because he set up Trick, and then Trick because what he did for TNA, NXT, vice versa.
No, that's
But
a real
overall,
good explanation.
yeah. But I would say overall, in hindsight, Joe Hendry.
Very good explanation because Joe Henry did open the doors. Now, and when the doors were open for him, he made he made the best out of it. People complain about, and I know Busted Open complain about it. Seeing him get RKO twice by Randy Orton, he looked like a goof. I disagree because did you hear that reception he had on Friday Night SmackDown? And it's about almost a year. It's been months, and Joe Henry still gets those
Exactly.
big receptions and love. To me, like I could agree with you with Joe Henry. Joe Henry had it, and to me, my runner up was Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian came on our platform and mentioned that his goal in 2025 to finish off was to be TNA World Champion. And he told us that, and he wanted to accomplish that. He interviewed us. Check out our interview here on the Sports Jedi Network. He had we had a one I had a one-on-one interview with Kazarian, and we mentioned that. Also, winning that title, he won two titles. He won the international title. He won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, and you could say a triple Grand Slam if you want to say TNA. He didn't win the X Division, but he's been an X Division champion as well, and TNA World Champion. So, but to me, yes, it's Joe Henry because he laid the foundation for TNA. He allowed the crossover work to hear that there is a demand in WWE universe to want to see TNA talent working together, and then dropping the title to Trick Williams, and then that whole ride he took us to chase it back. He didn't get the title back, but he chased him into NXT TV, where we saw TNA representation in WWE Universe on CW Network, on WWE Peacock. Then John, confessing and saying at the beginning of the year boldly that he wants a match with John Cena before retirement. He didn't get his match, but he was part of the card. He got himself over by himself organically, and then with the help of TNA, absolutely. That's why he is the male wrestler of the year for TNA. Sad that he's no longer with the company, but I think we knew that was something that was going to happen. The ship was going to sail there. But Joe Henry, I totally agree with you. Saber of the year. Honorary mention, like you said, Mike Santana could be a runner-up. Trick Williams could be a runner-up. Even Frankie Kazarian, we mentioned reasons why, but I think we agree it's going to be Joe Henry. Without Joe Henry, this door doesn't open and this collaboration doesn't work with the titles back and forth and the juicy storylines that we
He
have
was the
currently right now.
prototype of the collaboration.
Yes.
Well, Jordan Grace technically was, but you know what I
Yes.
mean.
Right. Well said. Let's go. Let's get the
let's do NXT before if you don't mind, because
we got one more. Wait, is it the moment of the year? No, we got the moment of the year. We mentioned it. Let's go right into NXT.
Yeah, NXT before we close out with WWE, because it has a lot of implications of what we are talking about with TNA.
Let me read this real quick.
No, go ahead.
He's one personally I'm not sold on, but must confess, reality root for him because of everything I see and anything I see in the man. It really tried to do his best by giving him a hardworking person. Yeah, that's why that's why we kind of don't say we're trying to show you the work. We're not telling you, well, I think he's the man of the year, and that's it. We're trying to give you the work and give you the long division or the explanation on why we consider him the male of the year or any of the winners, our Golden Sabers. Why? Not because we said so. We want to give you our thoughts and our process behind it. We could not see the same lens because
I could easily say Mike Santana is my Golden Saber and keep him moving because he's my favorite wrestler.
Right, we could say that. We could say that because we've interviewed him twice, and he's our guy, and we're like horses with blinders just for Mike Santana, and yeah, but we want to also be objective and give other opportunities and listen and have that conversation about the other wrestlers because I could tell you breakout wrestler of 2026, Marlon Reed. Simple, Marlon Reed is going to be a breakout wrestler of the year. I mean, this kid is untouchable, on fire. And watch out for Casey Navarro. He's going to come back better than ever. You could see that in him.
He would be mine.
So, want to make sure I give those guys honorable mentions as well. Xavier, Desmond Xavier coming to the company. He could be, my goodness, him and Zachary Wentz and the Rascals could do some major things. Excited things for TNA in 2026. That opens the door for NXT. We're going to go right to NXT here. For the women, who is your female breakout? Because the male is
easily
watered down, but let's go with the women.
I think it's easily JC Jane. Everything she's done for, you wouldn't, when people found out and saw when she beat Stephanie, I mean, when she's at her peak in NXT, I mean, you really can't deny. I think I could put her in the category for knockouts of the year and excuse me, NXT female of the year and this one, because dude, she's easily the best heel female in that damn roster and nobody comes close on the mic, at least. Like, bro, how many times have we watched NXT this year and you look at a fatal influence segment and you see everybody else in the ring and you're like, oh my God. And then when JC James talks, it's how many times have we said to each other, dude, she just makes these other girls look like shit on the mic. Like JC James, like is right, especially when she had the double champ run. I would have to give it to JC Jane, dude.
I couldn't see any other. I'm trying to put a case. I'm trying to find another case for another woman breakout of 2026. I don't think. I don't think Lola Vice, if you want to consider what she's doing in AAA, but it hasn't really.
She hasn't had
She's
that many opportunities, and the opportunities she's had, she's taken the pin.
she's taking the pin.
I know I
Great,
can't put her
great
up there.
rebuttal. No, great rebuttal. That's we're putting cases out there. We're just throwing the cases out there. Where's Jada Parker? I know she has a lot of fanfare, but still another
Same
one
thing
that
with her.
fell
I put her in
short.
the same. I say the same thing with her. I say with Lola.
She fell short. So Ruka, double champion. I mean, you could say what's going
Look,
on
a
there
lot of
with her.
these people are over in the PC. That's why, like, a lot of these people I'm naming are over in the PC. When JC Jane, she was getting booed everywhere she went. We have to take this into consideration sometimes when we talk about NXT, because you know better than
Yeah,
everybody else in right here how that NXT crowd is. They have their favorites. You know that. And sometimes, when you turn on NXT and you see a crowd going crazy for Jada Parker, when you're like, why is everyone going crazy? What did they see in her? It's because they're fucking friends with her. But the casuals don't know that. So that's why, I can't name any of those wrestlers that are over in the PC, because to me, I see the booking, they get the opportunities, and they don't really go anywhere with them. So mine would be JC Jane.
what's up, Elliot?
What up, Elliot?
Agreed. Agreed until Blake got debunked. Yeah, Blake was having a good trajectory there. Yeah, all these women fall short to Joycey Jane as breakout woman of. You could say Fallon Henley to a degree, but what JC Jane has done, capturing those two titles, you cannot say undeniably she's on top. It was the same way when Solo was NXT. Solo was really good though. I watched Solo in person, and Solo was his matches were really good there. But what about male breakout of
Javon
2026,
Evans
25, 20? Javon Evans, very good, the young OG.
being
I
in
totally
his
agree.
thing with Leon, being in the tournament for Cena, having the best. I think he had the best match in the tournament against Gunther, in my opinion. My opinion only. He had one of the best matches, if not the best match in that tournament.
Not
So
Obafemi, huh? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. You know why you could give it to Javon, even though Javon has not won the
I
title yet?
think Javon is going to be folk. Obafemi's a really good. I totally forgot about Obafemi until you
Beat
brought him up.
Moose. He beat Moose.
But I'm still gonna stick with Javon, because I think Javon, he has the. I think a lot of people could like, I don't know, like he has the fan presence a little bit more than Oba. I feel like when like Javon, like an 18-year-old kid. Javon's fucking 20 years old, first off. So, like, when you see like an 18-year-old kid, kid with dreads that looks like Javon, I mean, you're gonna go crazy. Like, that's a lot of people like Javon. He's young, he's athletic, but other than that, I mean, how are we gonna sit here and say that for a guy who had a, again, in my opinion, the best match in the John Cena's last now tournament with Gunther, the guy who beat John Cena in his retirement match, him having a tag team match with Leon versus AJ Styles in John Cena's Saturday Night main event, him winning the Iron Survivor, him being in all these triple threat tag team matches, him taking all these cool, ridiculous bumps like they did at Philadelphia. I mean, we talked about him having the match of the year at Bound for Glory versus Leon Slater. How is he not the NXT Breakout Wrestler of the Year?
He did have a match with Randy Orton.
He had a
Yes.
match with Randy Orton in St. Louis. Randy Orton handpicked him. Come on, he's the future.
Not only that, with Javon Evans, yeah, and you know what I like about Javon Evans when he's out there wrestling, he's having fun. It looks in his face that he's having fun.
Yeah.
Him and Leon Slater look like they're having fun, like little kids, and I love to watch those two. Individual or together or against each other, they look like they're having fun, and that's what I think. That's why he's my breakout wrestler of the year, Chris. We got JC Jane. We got the who is your top heel male in NXT?
Ethan Page.
Absolutely. All ego Ethan Page. That man is the best heel in the business currently right now with no profanity needed. Just, oh my God. He's the top heel. He's the best. He is the best. No question about it. Female that you despise heel in NXT. That's a tough one.
Dude, no, I don't know. I might be glazing her a little too much, but is it wrong to say JC Jane again?
There's nothing wrong with that because there's no other heel that you just like, ugh, I can't. Because Kalani's just getting into that phase of being a
Her,
heel.
no, if her heel run right now feels like how I felt about Roxanne's in the beginning. It felt forced. Felt like a nice,
You got to give it time
nice,
to get
good.
in her
I gotta
skin.
give that time, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glazing JC Jane a little bit too much here, but I gotta say JC Jane, dude. She kills everybody on that mic, especially as a recent when she's a heel.
Blake Monroe because there's not a lot of body of work
I
to
don't
my
like Blake
opinion
Monroe. I think she's trying too hard to play something. I like the
instead of
Mariah
okay.
May in AEW. I think
All
she's
right,
trying to be
fair.
like that Tony Storm in AEW in NXT, where it's like, I'm Blake Monroe. That's literally what Tony's doing. When Mariah May was that badass kind of like OG Tony, like I don't know. I think she needs her character. Like I think the Mariah May character in NXT would be dope, if that makes sense.
All right, makes sense. Yeah, I'm trying to find out a female heel that
I
I
would
just
have to
don't.
say JC Jane.
I'm trying to think, and it's got to go to JC Jane. As soon as I think of heel, I think of JC
This
Jane right
year, I
now.
think of JC Jane.
Yeah, when I think of NXT heel, because I don't see any other female heel right
You
now
could
that I'm
move her
like,
up to SmackDown right now.
oh,
Fadeaway
absolutely, just
influence,
yeah,
and she'd be fun. So I would have to
absolutely.
say JC Jane.
All right, so we got our male and female heel. Let's go with the PLE of the year for NXT. Which one you thought was your favorite PLE for NXT?
Hmm.
That's a tough one.
That that is a tough one. I think I don't think we were talking about it off air. What did I think that
Yes,
wasn't that bad? Stand and Deliver. I didn't think Stand and Deliver was that bad. Um I liked Deadline. I always liked
Iron
the
Survivor.
concepts. Iron Survivor, of course. No Mercy was that the one in Fort Lauderdale
Yes.
where they did Joe Henry? That one wasn't bad, was it? I don't think that
No,
one
no,
was
it was
that
good.
bad.
That's when I believe that's what Ricky Saints first won the title. That's when Laney Reed was in the Black Hood. That helped JC Jane beat Lola Vice in that one. If I could jog your memory a little
Yeah.
bit.
I would that's a tough one. I would say Battleground in Tampa
I agree with you on that one.
because and I know you said that earlier, but it came to my head. That was the first time and I have my reaction, I think. Well, no, playback got rid of all of our footage. Oh my god. But I remember seeing Mike Santana uh going backstage for the first time. That was his first WWE appearance, and he said, "I remember just getting so excited." And I thought it was a good crowd. There were good matches, so yeah, I would say Battleground. It was good. They had AAA wrestlers in that show too.
Hmm.
Um, what was the match that I thought was I was looking forward that was fun? Oh, it was the Stacks and Tony D'Angelo when the storyline was actually hot and it felt like a mob thing. Like, and then they had Oba and Miles, where Miles won that number one contenders match where nobody thought. I thought that pay per view was pretty good, so I would say Battleground.
I agree because it opened up for a fun summer for both TNA and NXT.
Exactly that too.
It set the stage for a really exciting summer for both companies in this collaboration to where we are currently right now. And I thought Battleground to me was their PLE of the year. I thought it was fun. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. Let's go with the moment of the year, if you want to go with that. What was your moment in NXT?
Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Personally, this might have to be a personal answer. Maybe seeing Santana will go walk through the crowd for the first time. I
Okay,
mean, I never thought I'd see. Again, that's one person I wanted to see in WWE TV for a long time before this year, before me and you started doing this,
correct.
and really, I wanted to see him in that setting for a long time. And I really enjoyed that. But as for moments, I don't know, man. It maybe I'll tell you one. I'll tell you one. I don't think I'll ever forget this. Me and Chef were doing the watch along when you were doing the Knicks game. And I will never forget me and Chef just having a casual conversation. And all of a sudden we see Ricky Saints in the freaking crowd. And we're just like, what? Like, what? Nobody tweeted it. Nobody leaked it. It was just fresh after AW gave him his release. I mean, that was crazy. Like we were, and Elliot, I like that. That was, it
I
felt
bet
like
that
this.
was 24 though.
That
That
was
was
24.
24.
Oh yeah, that was because that's when they did like,
Yeah,
yeah, no, you're right. But no,
but
I
it was
would
still a
say
great moment.
it
That
was
was
a
still
great
a great.
moment. Yeah,
Oof.
but yeah, dude, that was crazy. That was definitely unexpected. I would have to say Ricky Saints' debut, bro. Me and Chef were genuinely surprised.
You guys were. I tell you one. The rumors of the invasion and it happened,
Mm.
and that brouhaha. I was in the building and I lost my voice and I
Oh
was going
yeah.
crazy. And then I see all the TNA wrestlers. I turn to my right is Steve Macklin, and then over there it's
Yeah, that was sick.
Eric Young. And I just interviewed Frankie Kazarian a couple of days or a couple hours before, and he's there live in person. Then the following day, when I have no voice, I got to interview Trentino Morella on the channel, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I was there live, Trentino. Oh my God, that was for me. That was the moment, and then to see it boil down, I actually liked it more that at the end than the actual showdown showcase match. For me, I really enjoyed that when because that rumors and it finally boiled down, and then Mike
Yeah.
comes in, and comes in at the end and goes on commentary, and then the whole Trick Williams, and then everything breaks loose. My goodness! And then the stuff that didn't wasn't shown on television that we saw afterwards, that we because I was in the building, I felt the rumors and I said I have to be there, and I really, to me, moment of the year for NXT. Personally, I wish it would have got a greater rating, but that's another conversation for another day. To me, that was the moment of the year for me for NXT. Just seeing that finally boiled down. They were going to go at wars. Tensions were hot, and they went for it. There. Any match of the year.
Match of the year. Was it one of the Oba's tricks and Javons? I forget which one specifically.
They had a triple threat at New Year's Evil last
New
year, if I'm not
Year's
mistaken.
Evil. Was that the
With the
one
Rock,
where
was
yeah. But that's the
little.
one where it was like Javon did that near fall and everyone was like, "Oh my god, he won." And then Trick retained, right?
No, I think was it Trick Routine or was it Oba? I don't
Was it
remember that one.
Oba? Huh. Well, I don't know if I should put that as my match of the year if I can't even
If you
remember
remember it
fully.
either,
But there was shit, there was something, but I thought that was a good match. I don't know what my match of the year would be in NXT.
we got a
I
male. I forgot it because I was about to say one, but it's my female. I was like, wait a minute, I got to get a male one.
male.
Come on.
Did if I'm not mistaken, Axiom and Hardy's happened this year at MSG. So I would
Yes, it
say
did.
I enjoyed that one. I would say that one. That
Okay.
was a good tag team classic. I think that was really the test to see if Faction would move up to the main roster, which eventually they did a few, I think, weeks after that. So I would have to say Fraxium and the Hardys was a really good match that I enjoyed personally this year.
Not bad. I did enjoy me
Wasn't in the
personally.
PC,
That's true. I
so
enjoyed it. I actually from that same card at Madison Square Garden, I enjoyed Moose and Obafemi.
that was a really good match too.
Oh, to me, that was my favorite match. Well, Moose and Obafemi at Madison Square Garden was my favorite match. That was good. Of NXT, yeah, that was one of my favorite match. Personally, I really liked it. If you want to be selfish, Santana versus Travion Heights just to see his introduction to the NXT world was pretty good, but no, we just wanted to big honorable mentions on that there. All right, that's female match of the year. Mine's is gonna be JC Jane shocking the world and beating Stephanie Vicaire. No
That is
one,
also mine. That's also mine.
nobody
Clean
expected
sweep.
that. We're like, oh shit, literally, because we did not see that coming. Like, whoa, that was the match of the year. Because that was just on a random Tuesday night. No one expected that. I was like, what? We could say Blake Monroe losing the title to Thea Hale, but what messed it up if the um soundboard guy would have not played the wrong theme music. Would have been a good moment, but he put on, Blake Monroe's theme music first. If it was just Thea Hales, and then but even them didn't know the truck was even off. They were, they were eating a hand sandwich when they pressed the wrong button. So yeah, I got to go with JC Jane. On I wanted to give that honorable mentions as well. All right, let's go. Male wrestler of the year in NXT.
Whoop that trick.
What?
It has to be
Uh
Trick.
huh.
All he's done for
Uh-huh.
TNA,
Yeah.
all of his matches,
Let's talk
the
about it.
whoop that trick. I mean, it has to be Trick Williams, man. And I think that's no question in my opinion.
I tend to agree with you. I know Obafemi has a lot of honorable mentions. Obafemi, if you put him, if your number one male of the year, is nothing wrong with that. But for Trick Williams to win that beating Joe Henry at Battlegrounds, turning a company upside down in TNA, causing that memorable moment with the showdown, where TNA is coming to the NXT to the performance center and getting episodic television, and then the whole matchup, and then him going, and the way he stole that victory for a Slammiversary and put almost 7,000 plus Puerto Ricans upset, go home, and like these two guys here that flew and traveled over thousands of miles to go
Mm-hmm.
see that. The Trick took us on that roller coaster of emotion. Best wrestler, NXT
Yo,
best wrestler of the year.
I'm sorry to go back real quick, but now that we're talking about Trick and all this stuff, again, I hate to go back. This is just off topic, real quick. Who I would take? I just thought in my head when we were talking about heel of the year for TNA. How do we not talk about AJ Francis?
Ooh, you know
Because I'm
what?
thinking about all the stuff that he's doing with Trick, and because of all the TNA and all that stuff, I'm like, I just want to throw it out there. How do we not bring his name up? But that would be kind of low key mine. But I bring
Who
that
was
up
your
because, huh?
who was your nomination for the heel of TNA? We didn't give that heel.
Was it Mustafa? I think I said Mustafa.
No, we didn't give a
We
heel.
didn't. Oh.
No, you got it, AJ Francis.
AJ Francis, but I would say Mustafa too. I don't know, bro. With his sobriety, shouldn't say it. Then I don't want to go back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That came up. That came up
No,
to my head last minute, bro.
not
I'm
for nothing. We
sorry.
got to give it honorable mentions. It's the award
Yeah,
show.
dude. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, bro. But if I had to, I'd do the heel of the year for TNA. I would do that.
yeah,
Come to
that
my
was,
ear.
and then because Mike is
Yeah,
very, very passionate about
yeah,
his sobriety, and he's very prideful and
yeah. That's
well earned of what he's gone through and where
so
he's
that
come.
that kind of had me thinking a little bit. But yeah, that one that's a good one that we missed out on. Thank God I thought about that now, and we are not all backstage before. We're like, oh, we forgot that. But anyway, I bring that up because Trick Williams, you know, it was one of those things where in NXT too, where when he was with trying to get TNA, whatever, he had guys in NXT even trying to align himself them like with him. Like, we're team TNA, we're TNA talent, but we rock with you. That's what like him and KC were doing, making sure like so I think he did a good job of implicating story into all that while maintaining both NXT and TNA. So I like Trick. I like Trick as my NXT
I,
wrestler of
I
the year.
think, and you know what? To go back a little bit to TNA, female, and I think you agree, female heel of
Oh, it's
TNA
no
of the year
question.
is Tessa,
It's
because
no question.
she generates heat. So yeah,
It's no
we got
question.
to bring that.
We don't
Yeah,
even need to say why.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
she generates heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why she's the heel of and of TNA. But yeah, NXT, we got Trick Williams as your best wrestler of the year. Now
Mhm.
Obafemi, again, if you have him on your scorecard or you disagree, hey, there's nothing wrong with saying Obafemi as well. Where he is doing for NXT world title, but we explained that's why we showed the math why we think Trick Williams, because the impact he has been on two companies, two brands. You could say that on Javon Evans, but Javon Evans has not captured a title yet. That's why we have to hold off. He's not the best wrestler of 20. Oba has gotten two-time world champion, yes, but what the implication he had, and that's what Trick Williams, the roller coaster of emotion, when you could send a arena full of loud and proud Boricuas disappointed home the way he did. I got to give you my cap off to Trick. Let's talk about it. Trick does, and Trick is the guy. Trick is the guy. My ingredient. I think he's gonna do a real good. And it's showing his in ring continues to get better and better and better. His in ring continues to improve. The matches he have had to close out his TNA and NXT careers were good ones. He's no longer an entrance. He's more than that right now. Trick Williams continue to evolve and grow. He, like he said, it's not the who has the best story, is what's best for business. And that's something that resonates with Trick Williams, and the Trick Williams continues to grow. All right, let's go with the best female wrestler of NXT.
Kalani. I want to
Ooh,
say JC Jane again. I don't want to glaze her too much, but I would say Kalani.
Kalani. Okay. I'm gonna go Sol Ruka.
Okay. I
I'm not a
like
big
that.
fan of I'm not a big fan of hers, to be honest with you. I know people will love her, they want to go crazy. But I want to give her the best female wrestler in NXT. Um, I like what Soruka getting that victory on Bailey put her over the top, and just where she's going. We all know that the Zarya love fest isn't really working. That's a little bit of criticism because we've seen that redundant. There's a lovey-dovey fest with ice cream and rainbows, and let's pillow fight with Zarya and Soruka. We're seeing it with Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. We're seeing it with Io and Rhea Sky. Io Sky is like, ugh, like, you know, mm, you know what? So someone told me that they were gonna redo the New Day pancake gimmicks again. I would have been like, you're crazy. But if that's what it looks like here in 2025 with the women division in WWE. But I digress. I could give that to Soruka. To me, Soruka. I'm gonna give her my Saber. I could even say JC Jane, but man, we've been really glazing her big time, and
I
she well
know that's why
deserved.
I said a
Jason, you
Kalani.
deserved it. I would love to give you a clean sweep, but I want to make it fair. I got to give it to Soruka. Let's go to WWE main
Yeah,
roster.
let's
It's
finish
gonna
out here with WWE.
it's
Let's
gonna
go.
include both SmackDown and Raw because
Yeah,
let's
that
include them both
separating the
because it
two is just
sucks. No,
ridiculous.
it's just too much. I'm gonna start off with this crazy one. Who is the breakout WWE male wrestler of the year for the WWE? All in all, and you're like, damn, he had a good year.
Huh. This is where this is the company that gets, you know, you really got to think because there's a lot. There is a lot. I don't know. Breakout wrestler of the year. I would have to say Dirty Dom.
Damn it, you said it right first. I said Sucio. It has to be El Sucio.
It
Dominic
has to be
Mysterio.
Dirty Dom. I
Yeah,
mean, Triple A Mega Campeon. All
Intercontinental title
John Cena Intercontinental. John Cena's last
feud.
PLE having 2 matches with him this year. Everything he's done with Liv, SummerSlam, having that a memorable moment. You could argue that being a memorable moment, him kissing Liv in front of Rhea, which that honestly is a top of mind. So I would say Dirty Dom, breakout
So
wrestler.
Sucio. Yeah, he's a breakout wrestler. That's Sucio. Dirty Dom. Female. When you think of the female, like, oh damn, what a year she had.
Honestly, I'm constantly I'm thinking between like Tiffany Stratton, as much as I don't really like her. I mean, we can't deny she had a big year, women's champion, going against Charlotte at WrestleMania, beating her. Um, I would have to say Tiffany. As much as I'm not a fan, big fan, I gotta say Tiffany Stratton.
Tiffany has a good one. I think popularity wise, I'm gonna go with Io Sky. Although Tiffany did win the Crown Jewel Championship, but I think Io Sky just because she's right now still on the top of the in
She's my
demand.
female wrestler of the year.
Ooh, okay, all right, because she broke out. Because she was really, make a good point on that one when it comes to her. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I said Io Sky first. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
Io Sky as a breakout wrestler. I'm gonna go with that one here. Um, so we got our male Sucio Dominic Mysterio, and a breakout wrestler. For 2026, don't be surprised that McDonough might be one of those guys. Might be
Okay.
a breakout wrestler next year. On Samuel, you could see JD McDonough. You could probably see, finally baby Austin Theory, because who knows how this year
Yeah.
is going to start rounding up now with the storyline he's implicated now, so forth. Honorable mentions for breaking out, even LA Knight, because he wasn't really doing much. And even though he took a lot of pins against Division, but he was always constantly in your main event on Monday Night Raw and so forth. Roxanne had a good year as well. You could put honorable mentions for breakout for Roxanne Perez. Where Roxanne didn't win any singles gold. That's the one thing that held her back from these other ladies, in my opinion. But Roxanne Perez, you cannot go wrong if that's in your playbook of giving of your eyes. If you see her as a breakout star going forward. Top heel, female wise in the WWE. Who is the top heel that you just
Becky Lynch.
beautiful?
Becky Lynch. I mean, Sports Illustrated says it. No, I'm not the only one. I mean, that's iconic. That is iconic. I think I think it's Becky. I mean, dude, she has the whole busted open guys fucking heated. I mean, come on. She is a heel in and out of that ring. It's Becky.
You got to give it to Becky because not only she's ribbing radio hosts, podcasters, um, just her body of work. She's even gotten a lady who's been in retirement for over 10 years to come out of retirement for a match, to sign a short term contract to reignite her fire in the WWE in AJ Lee. I got to give that to Rebecca Quinn, aka Becky Lynch, top heel of the WWE. Not only that, with her body of work, she's been in, her work coming back at WrestleMania, inserting herself as a tag team champion there with Lyra Valkyria, and then the story that played out of that, and that just went off. Took off the where Becky Lynch is right now. To me, breakout the top of the heel for the women in WWE television. You could put honorable mentions to Oscar, turning her back on EO Sky, but it kind of but that was telegraphed. You could have seen that a mile away. You knew that Oscar needed that fresh paint on her turning heel. Becky was a little bit of a concern, like, oh, did she? Will she go that? Because remember, her first heel run was not good, was a little bit underwhelming, and then this time she's knocking it out of the park. That's why I got to give her that top heel. Your top male heel in WWE.
I mean, I don't know if I would have to say Dirty Dom again. I mean, I think now it's calmed down, but there were still a lot of times earlier this year where he can't get a word out in his segment. It's really it's impossible. But if I'm not gonna say Dirty Dom, am I allowed to say Paul Heyman?
You could say it
I'm
easily.
gonna say Paul Heyman.
Okay.
He does his job better than anybody on that mic. And if Paul Heyman, I would say maybe Seth. Faking that heel injury. I'll say Seth. I don't want to change my answers too much, but
No, it's fine.
Seth. I'll keep it at Seth. Working with Paul Heyman, who is the best heel manager of what he does. And him faking that knee injury and coming back and cashing in, that is the most heelish shit I've seen in a long time, especially this year. So Seth Rollins, because he's, again, a big part of it is with Paul Heyman. I won't give it to Paul Heyman because he's not an active wrestler, but I would say Seth.
Well, with Paul Heyman, here's the thing. People like to say, my name is Paul, and finish his story. People like to want to sing along or talk along with
That's
Paul
a good
Heyman's
point.
entrance. Not
Same
so
thing
much
with
of a
Seth, though,
heel.
with the
That's another one. You could, yeah. That to me, that's why I gotta get. I was gonna give it to one wrestler, but but it's not really in ring why he's a heel. I was gonna go Brock Lesnar, but my heel is Gunther. Gunther, because he
Ooh,
had
I like that.
feud with Jey Uso, and he got personal, and
He told
before
Bret Hart to his
WrestleMania,
face that Goldberg was his favorite wrestler.
he told him in his face he doesn't care. He's not looking for you to cheer for him.
I
He
love
also
Gunther. That's my honorable mention.
he took the title off of Jey Uso early, where everyone thought he was gonna have a long world title run. Took it away from him. I know he didn't beat Punk, but leading to Punk, he was that turtle jerk, and then the ultimate of all ultimates with John Cena. And now what he continues to do here, because the year hasn't ended. We haven't had 2026 hasn't started, and the way he's closing out with even doing "You Can't See Me" with AJ Styles, I think Gunther to me is the heel of WWE going forward this year. And watch out if he's probably be male wrestler of 2026. If everything the way
Ooh,
it's
I think that's
projected.
going to be Braun Breaker.
I hope so. I hope my boy Brunson is that guy. I hope so. But let's see how that goes going forward here. Let's go. Which was your favorite PLE of the year for WWE? I know it hasn't been a lot. I know that I've been a little bit
Yeah.
Calusa.
Night one of WrestleMania.
Night one of WrestleMania. Not a bad one. Not a bad one. To me is Evolution. Actually,
Evolution's
no.
great.
I'm gonna take
Evolution's great.
Evolution was great, but I gotta say the implications. The implications. I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna give them. Evolution is the people of the year. That's cool. I'm gonna give you a reason. I'm gonna take it back because it was Elimination Chamber
Oh, yes.
because it opened up. Granted, I'm not talking about what happened afterwards, how much of how bad it went after that, but to that perfect moment in February or the early to when John Cena turned heel.
Moment of
Even
the year.
before that, even before that, with the Elimination Chamber match that they had in there, the callback with him and Punk and all the other wrestlers, and even the women, Jay Cargill coming out and totally blasting Naomi, where we find out she was the heel behind all the protagonists and all the matches that were in there. That was the PLE of the year. I know
You know what?
I
I
wanted to
agree.
say Evolution first, but
No, I
started to
wanted to
talk
say
about
night one of
Evolution.
Mania because of the ending, but no, I have
Ooh,
to
that was
agree.
great too.
No, but dude, but the Jay Cargill open and the John Cena. No,
Close.
I have to agree. I gotta agree. Elimination Chamber.
That was a great.
I agree.
That was great. Like holy shit, that was what a PLE. And then the thing is, the repercussions afterwards. Mainstream was just that was the leading story in mainstream sports from ESPN to SI to everywhere. Good Day America. Everyone was talking about it. I think even Fox and
Bro,
Friends.
First Take was
The
talking about it.
five. The five. You know.
Yeah, this is before their ESPN deal, and all of them were talking
Yeah.
about it. So yeah.
I know Rachel Maddow was too busy eating a kale salad, so she didn't really get to talk about it. But it is what it is. Yeah, it was just that kind of a crazy night. That was just that was to me the PLE there. Now this is different. What was the moment of WWE? This is two
It's
different
John
things.
Cena turning heel still.
John Cena still turning heel. Okay, all right.
I mean, that's the biggest moment in the decade.
That is the moment of the year. To me, a feel good honorable mentions: Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble.
I
No
think him
one,
winning the title
no
is
one, no, but no one expecting to win the
no,
Rumble.
I agree, especially him
Nobody.
eliminating Cena. No,
And
that's fair.
everyone felt happy about it too. No one was like, ugh. No one was getting this fake hate that he has now or
Yeah.
dislike that he has now. Everyone was genuine happy for Jey Uso winning the Rumble at that time, at that moment. But you could make that as an honorable mention. But I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna stick with John Cena turning heel like in his final year. Like holy shit, we didn't see that coming. What we have left here? We have let's go with match of the year. This one is go. I'm gonna go first. Since give me a second here. To me, the match of the year that I really enjoyed, and I could watch it again and again. And when you're done, I could watch it again. AJ Styles versus John Cena. Let's go in
Are we
Australia.
doing male or overall?
Let's go male. Let's go male
Okay,
first.
because okay.
I got a
Male,
female too.
I would have to agree. I mean, that was a love letter to pro wrestling. That was one of their best matches in 10 years from both of them. I would have to agree.
That was
I would have
just
to agree.
great. That was just no pun intended. Phenomenal. No pun
Yeah,
intended.
yeah, I know, right?
Female match of the year for me. The
Io
triple
Sky
threat.
and Rhea Ripley.
No, a triple threat, and for me, it's triple threat intercontinental title at Evolution. Becky Lynch,
Okay.
Lyra Valkyria, and um, Bailey, because Bailey don't get a lot of love. And my God, that match was freaking fire.
I think
That's
mine
just
is
me.
Io versus Rhea at
And
Evolution.
Bianca. Oh, okay. Oh, that 1-on-1 between
One
them.
on one at Evolution, Io versus Rhea at
Oh,
Evolution. The main event. That's my female match of the year.
yes, that is a love letter. It is. It is, Samuel. It is a love letter. It is a freaking love letter to professional wrestling. To me, that triple threat to me was my favorite in that match. That triple threat. Oh, the triple threat in WrestleMania is another one and a great honorable
That's my
mention.
honorable mention.
That
That's
saved
zero.
that
That's
saved
my
night
second
two.
one. Yeah, that's my honorable mention.
That match actually saved night two to watch because that match
Mm-hmm.
was great. Bianca and Io Sky. Yeah, that. Yeah, if you got either one of those, great. Because I know I remember watching that. My wife was, man, that match was good. The evolution match. Yeah, until Salcedo decides to act like a clown. But it is what it is. Let's move. Let's go with the final ones here. Best male wrestler of the WWE in 2025.
I'm, you could make the argument for Cody, obviously. Um, hmm, I'm gonna say Punk.
Okay.
Main event in WrestleMania for the first time. And Samuel, I like yours. Zero, I like yours. I think you guys have. I think that could see. This one's always really hard. The male wrestlers and female wrestlers for WWE. That's always the one that's gonna get us talking the most. Us, me, and Kev. You guys in the chat. Um, and I think we are gonna have answers that are fair. I would have to say CM Punk. He main evented WrestleMania. I know this wasn't his ideal way of winning the world championship against Seth because he's hurt, but I think he's obviously the biggest star on Monday Night Raw. He has been for a while when he's there, but since he's been champion the last couple months, he's been there every week. He's going into a big program with Braun Breaker. He's had a great year. Winning, in that elimination chamber match against Cena, almost winning that there. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like the year Punk has had. I really do.
I could agree with Punk because I know this was 2024. He made a 50 cents bracelet mean so meaningful in that feud with
Yeah.
McIntyre going in. Then Rollins. I mean, totally that people were saying it was getting a little redundant. I disagree. You know, he bought an AJ, he bought his wife out of retirement. Rebecca Quinn got her to come out too. But my point is, Punk was in the catalyst in it. Part of that triple threat main event night one with Paul Heyman, getting that opportunity to finally close out a main event of WrestleMania, becoming world champion, beating Gunther, who is the hottest wrestler right now in this category right now. Then just to the elimination chamber, and one thing is his body holding up. Knock on wood, no injuries. Work showing up to work and wrestle. You don't hear a negative peep. Wanting to get back to the kids, the younger talent. I think CM Punk is their WWE most valuable wrestler. If you want to put that separate, or the best wrestler for the company,
Mhm.
you could easily say that. You could put, if you wanted to, over Cody. I know Cody draws the asses and seats, but let's face it, SmackDown's ratings hasn't been great. You know, and he's the face of the company of that
Yeah.
brand. So I gotta give him, I gotta peg him down a little bit. So I'm gonna go with CM Punk as well. I thought Gunther would have been another one too. Gunther, his aura, just the way I know Roman has that aura, but Roman hasn't seen much enough to be a wrestler of the year. Only had 6 to 7 matches, not enough body of work. Jey Uso was great, getting people invested, but I don't think he had to me. I was gonna say John Cena because I think I am gonna go John Cena instead of Punk. The reason why he did his amount of dates and the matches he put on some great matches. The one match that wasn't good was with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania night 2, due to the fact that there was supposed to be more that we would never know. If it's Travis Scott, The Rock, there was supposed to be something built there. We would never know. We don't know what the hell happened there. Something happened there, but then we like he said, and on the Chris Van Vliet, we got Randy Orton, we got CM Punk, we got Ron Cena's matches, John, our killings a couple times with him. We got that promo that the master of thugonomics from CM Punk, he made Punk go to Saudi Arabia and wrestle for the world title, where he mended some fences, where Punk had some nasty words to say about Saudi Arabia, back and John Cena challenging him as a heel to bring the babyface, and Punk just saying I'm sorry got the crowd back on his favor. So I'm gonna go John Cena as the best wrestler of the year for all those reasons: the ambassadorship for John Cena, to putting over the talents, the love letters that he had with all the different wrestlers. Brock still putting Brock over, even though he could have been selfish. He goes, no, brother, I'm going beating you, coming back. I'm going to give it to John Cena because he just left the world. He did leave wrestling better than he found it. And I gotta give it to John Cena, my best wrestler of the year. I know it's cliche, easy cop out, but I'm explaining why I want to give John Cena those that accolades to my Golden Saber because he did that to everyone, every stop. Even Joe Henry, putting him there with with the Miz and Ron Cena and that little before the main event in his final card. Dominic Mysterio going over and doing that. So I'm gonna give it to John Cena on there, best wrestler of the year. Final one, female. Who is your best female in WWE?
I'm stuck
Tough.
between
That's
Io
a tough
Sky
one.
and Stephanie. I'm gonna give it to Stephanie. I think Io's my runner-up. I think Io had the better matches, but I'll say Stephanie because it's been a long time since I've seen a main roster or NXT female get so over like that in the main roster. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, she's world champion the way quick. They gave her the world title quick. She's had some really good matches already. She's really popular, man, for only being in the main roster for not that long. And I still think you could credit her time from NXT involved still now. I that's tough. That's tough. It's definitely between her and EO. Um, but I think I would give it to Stephanie just by the slightest, like a percent.
Okay. I was gonna my best female of the year is Io Sky because she's night in
Yeah,
night out. She wrestles more. Stephanie Becker hasn't given me, like I've said, and I've been complaining about it. I don't have any emotional investment to care why she hasn't had any hard times. There hasn't been no hard times. She lost the NXT title, okay, but she came in
fair,
and won the Evolution Battle Royal and became the number one contender. I know and Naomi got pregnant, whatever the case was. She couldn't. So she became number one contender. She won the title. We never know if Becer was going to lose to Naomi or what. We will never know. But my point is, there was no struggle for Stephanie Becer, and
I
I need to see that struggle. That's why I would have liked Nikki to win, and if just for a short time, and have her win it back. But I need her for us to get involved and get and worry about, oh my God, Stephanie, is she really? She's doubting herself. No, it's been too easy. Where there's no people like, oh, she's winning again. If she wins the Royal Rumble, let's say she loses this triple threat and she don't, and Raquel becomes world champion and she wins the Royal Rumble too soon. Now, what else is left? She's gonna have to win the Queen in the Ring tournament and then the crown jewel, and then she's still, it's not even the year yet, and people tend to dislike wrestlers that get pushed quickly, and I'm afraid of for Stephanie, especially not her commanding the English language so strong yet. That's my little worry when it comes to Stephanie McKay. That's why I got to give it Io, even though Io doesn't communicate English that strong, but man, she's super over. Like
fair.
because she works and she don't talk much on the microphone, but she works a lot with her in ring. They like, damn, she puts on a match. Yeah, Io is crazy and exciting and it works. So I got to give Io my Golden Saber the best
Fair.
female wrestler in WWE. All in all, Stephanie Becker, she's right there, but I just missing that because we saw Io win her title, everybody was excited, lost it, and they want her to get it back. We see that emotional roller coaster where you get invested in Io Sky. Her friends betrayed her, but then she made another friends with Rhea Ripley. So there's attachment when character development when it comes to Io, where even though I'm not commanding the English language as much as Stephanie Becker, but Stephanie hasn't done that with her character to get us in and invest to a Stephanie Becker. We still don't know who she, other than a devil's kiss that she puts ladies' asses faces in her asses. I hate to say that when it comes to Vic Care. And I know she's a great wrestler, but we need to see a little more. Hopefully in 2026 for her. So that's our Golden Sabers, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is our take, but here's the final one. Promotion of the year. Which wrestling company had the best of all the major wrestling companies?
Look, this isn't bias. This isn't because, whatever you guys are going to say. But it's TNA. You know, to see just where they were and where they're at now. I mean, with all the stuff that, new management. I mean, we've talked about this all year, so I think you guys know the reason why, at least for me. But it's no question. It's total nonstop action. They are the
Yeah.
promotion of 2025.
To me, I'm with you. Not because we get interviews with them and we are good with them and they're very friendly with us. I'm gonna tell you again. We like to show the work. Everyone's complaining how SmackDown is unwatchable. It's going to 3 hours. It's boring. Change the creative. Oh, Triple H, you these pay leads are too short. Nothing but negativity when it comes to the WWE. Although they're selling out arenas, and people are paying uber amount of money for their networks, wherever they're at, people are still tuning in. The arenas are full. They talk about the highest attended gates, yada yada, all that stuff. But I can't, if there's a lot of complaining, I can't really think of them as the number one promotion. They could be honorable mention. I know Sports Illustrated had that thing where it was, I don't know if it was either for engagement farming or lightning rod topics so people could talk and keep, I mean, look, John Albert's still fighting with JD from New York about this freaking awards. That's their point of view. That's their thoughts. I mean, that's regardless. They're saying all elite wrestling where the numbers are going down. They're at lost 60% of their audience. People just murmur how long their pay-per-views are. They're too long. The Death Rider story was one of the worst in the company's history. Last night was one of the worst pay-per-views in history, so according to some people. According to people, second worst of the year. All I hear is that, like, oh my goodness, you know, Okada's lazy. Will Ospreay's hurt. He's not around because they put people on their necks like Kyle Fletcher, and the botches hold a stack away. Can't even fall off a table right without botching and all the negativity that comes with that company. How is and the arenas are small. They're shrinking. 1,800 seats. 1,800 people go in there. Now they're relying on the podcast reactors to be in front row to make for real. Can you see who's there? So how is they becoming the number one promotion of the year of this 2025? Where when we mention you get a new president who in Carlos Silva comes in with short term goals. Every 3 months he wants to see the company grow. He did. He has come in and proven it. The seats, the gates, from Rebellion, then the UBS Arena. No freaking way would they fill out UBS Arena with in New York City. What they did, they filled it up. You know, oh well, that was a fluke. Yes, granted, they have a little bit of a hiccup in Rhode Island, a minor, but then emergence came around and they kept going, kept moving forward. The accessibility they have with the media to talk to their wrestlers, have a conversation, get to know them, and media, the boots, the boots on the streets, to word of mouth, the TNA does, real relatable, and their meet and greets affordable. The tickets are affordable. My point is, they have getting into that television deal now where they're making that for a multi-year deal with AMC. They didn't go to Tubi. They didn't, they went to a reputable uh, channel that's going to have a streaming platform as well as every home, 60 million homes across America. TNA working with the WWE, doing smart things. To me, it's TNA. TNA has been the one that's had the best year, and we're going to see where they continue to grow here in 2026. We're excited to see where they grow. Doesn't mean that next year All Elite Wrestling could just blow up, because they're going to blow up in a positive way. They got their Max with the world title back. Osprey, hopefully he's healthier, better than ever, gets going. Wembley, hopefully they could get another 55,000 plus in that building, for them going forward. And you know, I mentioned this yesterday on the watch along, Chris. Next year, by Wembley's going to dictate how well they're going to have a television deal. If that building is hot and the company gets hot, that should catapult them into 2027, so they could go to the TV networks and get a better deal. That's my was saying
Yeah.
yesterday.
No, I agree. I agree with everything you said. So I think, yeah, I agree. I think it's a big year for them, big year for all pro wrestling companies. But overall, I think TNA was the best promotion this year.
And for WWE, you got 3 hours of SmackDown. You got no John Cena. Get back to the kitchen where Triple H made everything mattered and work. When you want, I've said this again. I need WWE to get back when Triple H was trying to sell the company to TKO. The way he was writing creative, the way he was booking and doing things. When you wanted to make the $9 billion investment from TKO, I need that. I need that hunger that Triple H had there. for that, where everything mattered and everything, every talent was a meaningful talent because they were showcasing it for TKO. If you do that, if you could even do 65% of that, I think the WWE universe will be satisfied with that. But that is our Saber Awards, Golden Saber. We appreciate everyone. We thank everyone for it. I hope you enjoyed the award ceremony, the very thoughts, wrestling. It was fun. It was great. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget Monday Night Raw. We'll be live from Orlando, Florida. So we definitely can't wait to see you there. So have a wonderful night. Get some sleep, Samuel Lyons there. And buenas noches.